Hey everyone, welcome to Revenge by Larry. I'm really glad you're here. Please watch this story till the end. Subscribe for more and leave a comment with your thoughts. My lower back still aches when it rains, and every time it does, I think of Logan's birthday. I was 23, married into Riley's family, standing on her parents' slick lakefront deck after a morning drizzle. The whole place smelled like wet cedar and cheap beer. Her brother Logan had just turned 25 and already had a crowd of his gym rat buddies circling, like it was some backyard frat party. He raised his plastic cup and yelled, "Highlight real time!" I knew what that meant. He'd been on me since the wedding. Provider jokes, nonstop shots at my job. I ran deliveries for a medical supply company. Long hours, not great pay, but it kept us afloat. Logan acted like if I didn't wear a suit, I didn't count. He pointed at me and grinned like a shark. Birthday spin, Doc edition. Phones came out. Two of his friends already had theirs up. I stepped back. Nah, man, I'm in my work pants. These steps are slick. Lorraine Riley's mom waved me off. Oh, Evan. Boys being boys. Don't ruin the mood. Riley just watched, not saying anything. Then Logan was in front of me, grabbing both my wrists. He'd done this before at cookouts, some show-off airplane spin thing like we were kids at recess. He liked control, liked the crowd. I yanked back. Logan, seriously, knock it off. He didn't. My grip burned as he spun me. The dock rail flashed past, then the steps. My boots skidded and I lost center. Someone yelled, "Send him!" He let go. I hit the top stone step hard. My lower back cracked so loud it rang in my skull. Heat shot down my spine and turned to ice. I couldn't move my legs. I blinked hard, tried to roll, and nothing happened. The noise of the deck got swallowed by the wind and the soft hum of phone cameras. Logan gave this weird, nervous laugh like he knew it went bad, but was still hoping it could be a joke. "I can't move my legs," I said. Riley frowned like I'd interrupted something. "You're okay. Just bruised." Logan nudged my boot with his foot. "Come on, man, don't make it weird." "I'm not kidding." My voice cracked. "I really can't." Lorraine snapped, "Evan, please don't make a scene. Logan's birthday is once a year." That's when Taryn, one of Logan's friends, pushed through the group. Nursing student. Sharp eyes. "Don't touch him," she said, dropping to her knees. She ran her fingers down my shin. "Feel that?" I shook my head. "No." Her face went pale. She pulled out her phone. "Calling 911. Possible spinal injury. Stay still." She didn't wait for permission. Didn't check with anyone. She just made the call. The EMT's voice was fast and clipped. She called out spinal protocol and told me to stay absolutely still. Her partner, a younger guy with a buzz cut, pulled out the long backboard and started sliding it under me. I stared straight up, breathing shallow, while my lower back lit up in waves and my legs stayed dead weight. It was like someone unplugged me at the waist. Victor stepped in again, louder this time, like volume was going to change anything. "It's a family thing, don't overreact." Taryn didn't flinch. "Sir, please. Moving him could make it permanent." I saw Logan standing behind her, still trying to smile for his buddies. But his eyes started jumping, side to side, toward the cameras, toward me. He knew. Riley knelt by my head, her palm hovering like she wasn't sure if she should touch me. "You're okay. You always bounce back." I said it louder this time, voice cracking through clenched teeth. "I can't feel my legs." My hands shook on the slick plank, fingers digging into grooves in the wood just to feel something. Lorraine piped up behind Taryn like she was hosting a brunch. "We don't need outside drama." Taryn didn't even look at her. "We need an ambulance." People were still recording. I saw at least 2 phones swing toward the stone steps like they were already imagining the replay. My pulse pounded in my neck. My lower back screamed. but my legs felt like foam, empty, silent. Victor leaned down, grabbed my elbow like he was going to hoist me upright. "Come on, Evan, you're fine." Taryn stepped between us shoulder first. "Do not touch him again." And just like that, the sirens broke through, steady and rising. I heard them off County Road, closing in. For the first time since I hit the steps, I felt a kind of quiet inside my head. Not peace, just space. The EMTs moved fast. Neck brace, hip straps, anchors. The backboard felt like cold steel. The woman, dark ponytail, serious eyes, looked me in the face. "Wiggle your toes for me." I stared at my boots, tried everything I had. Nothing moved. She turned to her partner and gave him a look. Not panicked, final. Like she'd closed a door in her mind. Victor said, "It's an accident, he's fine." He sounded like a guy trying to cancel the bill before it was printed. The EMT didn't even answer him. She clicked her radio. "Requesting police for scene safety, possible assault reported." Logan gave this dry laugh, too sharp and too late. One of his buddies, the taller one with the lake tattoo, muttered, "Dude, that angle?" The police showed up before they even lifted me. Blue lights, khaki uniforms, no nonsense. One officer stepped aside with Taryn, pulled out a little notepad. She didn't sugarcoat it. He was spun, deck was wet, hit stone, said he couldn't feel his legs right away. As they braced the board under my shoulders, I caught Lorraine's voice, low, biting. "Your husband is doing this for attention." Like I wasn't 3 feet away. Like I was faking it in front of half a dozen witnesses and a paramedic. The EMT leaned in. "You ever hurt your back before?" I swallowed. "I've been banged up a few times. Nothing like this." She gave a small nod and turned away. They strapped me down tight. I felt every buckle. Then they lifted, and all I could see were the deck lights sliding across my face like stage lamps, right before the curtain drops. The ER smelled like bleach and burnt coffee. I was strapped down, neck braced, pain dulling into something colder. A short woman with dark eyes and a steady tone leaned into view. "I'm Dr. Patel," she said. "Has anyone in your wife's family hurt you before?" I blinked at the ceiling, counted 3 tiles. "Depends what you call hurt." She nodded once, then stepped aside. The gurney moved, and they wheeled me into the MRI suite. The tech slid me into the machine, told me not to move. Then the hammering started, loud, rhythmic, like a freight train somewhere just behind my skull. When it ended, I couldn't tell if it had been 10 minutes or an hour. They rolled me back into the exam room and parked me in the center under flickering lights. My body felt like someone else's problem. Dr. Patel came back, but this time she wasn't alone. The guy next to her was older, cool-headed, clean-cut. His badge said Rhodes, and his voice didn't have time to waste. "You've got an L2 burst fracture with cord compression," he said. "It's bad." My mouth went dry. I felt my chest hollow out. He tapped a tablet screen and turned it toward me. "This is the acute injury right here. But this," he clicked again, "this isn't the first time." He showed me damage at T8, T12, and L5, older fractures, each at a different stage of healing. I stared at the screen like it was someone else's spine. Dr. Patel's voice softened. "Were you ever in football? Repeated falls? Any roughhousing?" I heard Logan's voice in my head. "Birthday tackle." Right before slamming into grass or deck boards, the boat ramp. The push into the lake that knocked the wind out of me. The bare hugs that cracked my ribs. Riley used to say, "Don't embarrass us. It's just how they are." I answered, "Yeah, years of it." "Doctor?" Rhodes gave a small nod. "This didn't happen in a day. Those untreated fractures, they rewire how your nerves process pain. You stop noticing. That doesn't mean the damage stops. Then his tone shifted. We need to operate tonight. We'll decompress the cord, install hardware, screws, rods, no delay. I didn't argue. There was nothing left to fight him with. A curtain rustled near the foot of the bed. A woman stepped in, brown coat, shoulder-length hair, small notebook in one hand, badge on the other. I'm Detective Alana Pierce. Mind if I ask you some questions before they take you in? I nodded. She kept it clean and to the point. Who spun you? Who told you to get up? Who filmed it? Who looked away? I gave her every name I remembered. Shirts, hats, who laughed, who got quiet. She didn't blink, just wrote. We'll collect the phones, she said. Taryn made the call that got you help. She did the right thing. The curtain opened again. Riley slipped in, red eyes, lips tight. We'll sort it out later, she said, like I was making appointments with my spine. I can't feel anything, Rye, I said. Still can't. She pressed her mouth flat like she was holding something back. Then she left. Dr. Rhodes stepped back in, checked his watch. We're going now. They started moving me again, and I watched the ceiling lights blur past like I was being carried off stage. I woke up dry-mouthed, flat on my back, with tubes taped into both arms and a soft buzzing behind my ears. The lights above me glowed like they were underwater. My spine felt like someone had carved it open and left something inside to settle. Dr. Rhodes stood near the foot of the bed, arms crossed, still in scrubs. Surgery went how it needed to. We decompressed the cord and stabilized the vertebrae. Now we wait and see what comes back. A nurse with kind eyes pulled back my blanket and said, We're going to run a few sensation tests, Evan. She slid a cold metal stick along my shin. I feel pressure, I said, voice raspy, but not the cold. She nodded and wrote something on her chart. No surprise on her face, no celebration either. A knock tapped at the door, and Detective Pierce walked in like she already knew where everything in the room was. Her tone had changed, less cautious now, more grounded. We've got 3 clear angles from the deck, she said. The video shows Logan shifting his hands and releasing you toward the steps. That wasn't a slip. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. She flipped a page in her notebook. Have you ever gone to the ER for other injuries? Sprains, bruised ribs, anything? I looked over at the window, then back at her. I tried. Riley's family always said I was fine, that it wasn't worth the copay. I'd get called soft if I even brought it up. She clicked her pen and wrote again. This is starting to look like a pattern. Assault, reckless endangerment, possible medical neglect. The door creaked open, and in walked Riley, with Victor and Lorraine close behind her, like a legal team. Riley stood stiff near the foot of the bed, but it was Victor who spoke first. It was an accident, he said, jaw locked. Lorraine followed up without missing a beat. Evan, don't ruin Logan's life over something stupid. Pierce stepped between them and my bed like a wall. We'll speak later, she said. This is a patient's room. You've had your say. Victor looked like he wanted to push back, but Riley touched his arm and led them both out. Lorraine lingered, threw me a look like I'd betrayed them all, then turned and left. After the door shut, a guy with a clipboard and a buzz cut came in. I'm Brent, your physical therapist, he said. We're starting small. Just tiny wins. He lifted the blanket, checked my ankles, and showed me how to try ankle pumps. Give it time, he said. I stared at my feet, focused with everything I had. They didn't move. I didn't say anything. The ceiling above me had hundreds of tiny holes. I started counting them. The next morning, a woman in a blue cardigan sat down beside my bed without making any noise. She introduced herself as Mrs. Salazar, hospital social worker. Her voice was calm, like she'd done this 1,000 times, but still gave a damn. "I need to ask about control," she said. "At home. Not just physical. Words, money, pressure. Does that sound familiar?" I stared at the window. "Logan's got these traditions," I said. "Every birthday, every family get-together. He lifts people, spins them around, shoves you in the lake whether you want it or not." She didn't write anything yet, just waited. "He forced shots on me once at Christmas," I said. "Wouldn't let me leave the circle. Even held my arm while they laughed." "And Riley?" she asked. I nodded slowly. If I said no, she'd roll her eyes, say I was being difficult, especially in front of her mom, like me having boundaries was a problem. Mrs. Salazar finally wrote something down. Then she said it flat, no build-up. "That sounds like gaslighting." The word made something click. My jaw locked up, then slowly let go. I didn't even know why it hit so hard. Maybe because I'd never had a word for it before. Dr. Patel came in that afternoon holding a folder. She pulled up the scans again, pointed out the older fractures one by one. "Each of these," she said, tapping the screen, "would have caused weeks of pain, trouble walking, maybe even nerve tingling." I nodded. I remember the tingling. Logan said it meant I needed to stretch. She looked me straight in the eye. "The body keeps score, but the head learns to pretend it doesn't hurt." That stuck in my chest for hours. Later, Pierce came by again with an update. "We got the warrant served, phones are collected. Taryn gave us a full statement, very specific." I asked, "Is it enough?" "It's building," she said. "We're not rushing it. But this isn't going away." I rubbed my hand over my face. "Am I going to walk again?" Dr. Rhodes stepped in just then. "We're cautiously hopeful," he said. "It'll depend on how the nerve roots respond over time. You've got a long road, but you're not alone on it." That night, Riley texted me 3 times. "Don't press charges. We can fix this. Think of family." I typed a dozen responses, deleted all of them, turned the phone face down and left it there. Next morning, Brent rolled me to a small therapy gym. Open space, clean floor, bright lights. He parked me beside another guy, early 40s, shaved head, and a wrap on his knee. "Maurice," he said, offering a nod. "Worksite fall, steel beam." "Evan," I said. "Lake house, stone steps." He let out a breath. "One rough way to clock out." Brent showed me a new stretch and stepped back. Maurice leaned in and said, "Stand when you can. If you can't, you still get to decide everything else. That part, still yours." I nodded, but I didn't answer. That night I barely slept, maybe 2 hours. The rest I spent lying flat, staring at the ceiling, thinking about every cookout I ever laughed through, every bruise I shrugged off, every time someone told me I was just being dramatic. 2 days later, Logan got arrested. A pair of officers walked him out of his parents' house in cuffs for aggravated battery causing great bodily harm. The charge sounded cold, clinical, but it hit like a gavel. No more calling it a joke. Victor didn't stay untouched either. He got cited for interfering at the scene. Lorraine got a formal warning for harassment thanks to what she said at the hospital and a voicemail she left for Taryn. They'd pushed the wrong people on the wrong day. Riley blew up my phone not even an hour after it hit the news. 12 missed calls in one afternoon. She didn't leave voicemails, just called over and over. Then she showed up at visiting hours, her hair tied back like she was trying to look pulled together. "You're ruining the family," she hissed, keeping her voice low as she stood next to my bed. "The videos look worse than it was." I looked her dead in the eye. It was bad enough. She stared down at the floor, biting the edge of her thumb, picking at the skin. Didn't say anything else. After she left, Detective Pierce came in with papers. She asked if I wanted a no-contact order against Riley, Logan, Victor, and Lorraine. Yes, I said. All of them. I signed right then and there. Later that day, a hospital lawyer sat down with me and went over my rights. He said I could sue for medical costs, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Said the evidence and video made civil action strong. Start with the basics, he said. Your recovery comes first. Everything else stacks after. My boss from the supply company called that same night. Said he heard what happened. Said my job was still there. He was already filing paperwork for medical leave under short-term disability. You focus on healing, Evan, he told me. We'll cover the route till you're ready. Brent came in the next morning with a standing frame. Thick straps, padded bars, and a support system that looked more like scaffolding than rehab equipment. He helped lock me in and said, "We'll shoot for 30 seconds today, just to see." I stood, barely. My legs shook like I was on a fishing boat, but I stood. 40 seconds before he lowered me back down, sweat covered my neck. A few hours later, I met a hospital counselor named Dana. She didn't ask soft questions. She asked straight. When you say it hurt, did people listen? I shook my head. They laughed. Or got mad. She leaned forward. Your voice counts, Evan. You don't need permission to say you were hurt? That line stuck with me harder than I expected. It felt like something I'd been waiting years to hear. I buzzed Pierce's line the next day and told her I wanted to give a full statement. No softening, no hedging. Logan came into arraignment in a wrinkled, too-tight suit, like someone dressed him last minute. His chin was up like he still thought it was just some prank that got out of hand. I could tell by the way he scanned the room, looking for sympathy or maybe just a lifeline. The prosecutor didn't waste time. They played the videos back to back. You could see it all. The wet planks, Logan turning his grip, me flying sideways, the stone step coming fast. Then the thud. The camera shook from laughter at first. Taryn took the stand. She didn't flinch under cross. He lost sensation immediately, she said. I did a basic response test and he had none. I told them not to move him. Dr. Rhodes came up after, calm, clear, no drama. He explained the L2 burst fracture, the compression, the surgery. Then he pointed out the older injuries, T8, T12, L5, like he was reading a story written in bone. Said the damage lined up with repeated trauma and no treatment. The defense tried calling it roughhousing, said it was just horseplay. They painted me as clumsy, said I was milking the moment, and hungry for attention. Then they played the video again. Slower this time. Frame by frame. The room went quiet when I hit the step. All you could hear was the click of the projector and one person near the back sucking in air through their teeth. When it was my turn, I told the truth. I told them about the cookouts, the boat ramp, the forced shots, the birthday games. I told them about Riley's silence, the eye rolls, the push to not make it a thing. It was never fun, I said. I just got good at shutting up about it. Victor tried to stare me down in the hallway during recess. He planted himself across from me with that smug squint he always used. But an officer stepped right between us before I even had to react. Nobody said a word. Back in the courtroom, the judge leaned over his notes and said, "Intent can be measured by action. You don't accidentally release someone toward a stone step with a known drop." Logan didn't look up when they read the sentence. 7 years. Eligible for parole after 3. Mandatory restitution tacked on. The judge made it clear. The sentencing guidelines were met, and the harm done was beyond argument. The civil case started a few weeks later. My lawyers handled most of it while I focused on rehab, medical bills, missed wages, long-term therapy. We settled out of court for $286,000. Insurance paid the max it could. The rest came from Logan's personal liability, his truck, his boat, his parents' contributions. Riley filed for legal separation the same week. I wasn't surprised. What got me was her showing up after that, asking if we could talk. I told her we could, through lawyers only. She didn't fight me on that. Just nodded once and walked away. I moved into a 2-room rental about 5 blocks from the hospital. Ground floor, no steps, no railing to fall over. The place had scuffed linoleum and a stove that ticked before it lit, but it was mine. It was quiet. Physical therapy went to 4 days a week. Brent still ran the sessions, still made me work without breaking me. He didn't talk unless he had to, but I could tell he watched everything, how I sat, how I shifted, how my hands gripped the bars. Maurice was always there, same hours, different injury. We traded gallows humor between sets. He called his walker the Silver Stallion. I named my leg brace the Situation. We didn't talk about the bad stuff directly. We measured our days in seconds, standing, inches stepped. A full lap around the bars felt like running a marathon. I met with a financial planner in the 2nd month. She looked over the settlement and broke it into categories: medical, rent, backup cash. Nothing fancy. I told her I didn't want to do anything dumb. She said, "Then don't." Simple as that. My boss called again and offered light-duty hours. Warehouse desk, routing paperwork, no lifting, no pushing, just hours and a reason to put on pants. I took it. I filed for divorce 2 weeks after Riley filed separation. No games, no delay. The judge moved fast, probably because there wasn't much to fight over. We had a used car, an apartment lease, and a pile of regrets. It got split down the middle and I didn't contest a thing. A letter showed up from Lorraine about a week later. She called me vindictive and cold, said I tore a good family apart. I didn't even open it. Just saw her handwriting and tossed it in the drawer, unopened. I still haven't read it. A few months passed. Detective Pierce stopped by the rehab unit on a Wednesday afternoon. She handed me a folder with a copy of my full statement and said, "I figured you should keep this. Also, Taryn passed her boards." That one hit me. I sent Taryn a short message, nothing dramatic, just a thank you. She wrote back one line, "I believed you." I read it twice. I still pull it up sometimes when the days get heavy. On the bad days, I practice standing for 1 full minute. I'd hit 60 seconds, then write it on a sticky note and slap it on the fridge. I had 20 of them by December. Feeling came back slow, in spots, like old lights flickering back to life in a blackout. The pain didn't leave. It just got smarter. Learned how to whisper. But the biggest shift came one morning in therapy. Brent asked me if I wanted to push further. I told him no. He nodded. And I didn't explain. Didn't feel the need to justify it. About a year later, Riley sent a long message to my phone. It came in 1 block, no emojis, just lines of typed-out regret. We were taught to laugh pain off. That's how we survived things. I didn't know how else to be. I read it twice, maybe 3 times. Then I set the phone down and let it sit on the counter for a full week without replying. I wasn't angry. I just didn't have anything left to explain. A week after that, I got a letter in the mail. Thick, handwritten, return address from a correctional facility, Logan. I opened it just enough to read the first 2 lines. He wrote that I overreacted, that I ruined family birthdays, that I turned a misunderstanding into a courtroom circus. I didn't even finish it. I folded the paper back, slid it in the envelope, and wrote 3 words on the front. Return to sender. No note, no reply. I found out through a friend that Victor's contracting company lost a major city parks bid. The committee cited public safety concerns after the case went local news viral. My name wasn't mentioned, but the headline had Lake House assault in bold type. I didn't celebrate. But I'll be honest, I slept better that night. A month later, the hospital invited me to speak at one of their staff in-service trainings. The topic was listening to patients when they report pain. I almost said no. Then I thought about that deck, the stone steps, and all the voices around me telling me to get up. So I said yes. I stood at the front of a small auditorium in a brace and comfortable shoes and told the story start to finish. I told them about the spin, the push, the impact, and the voice that finally cut through the noise. Don't move him. I watched their faces when I mentioned the phones, the pressure to laugh, the look on Riley's face when I said I couldn't move. Taryn stood near the back wall in blue scrubs and a messy ponytail. She didn't wave or smile, just gave a small nod when I finished. I nodded back. After the session, a young guy stopped me near the elevator. Looked maybe 20, nervous, but trying not to show it. My uncle jokes like that, he said. Shoves people, grabs wrists, all of it. I didn't sugarcoat anything. You don't have to let him, I said. Just because they call it a joke doesn't mean it isn't control. He nodded, then walked off without saying anything else. I watched his back disappear down the hallway. I kept the settlement details quiet. No flashy purchases. I paid off the divorce costs, my last hospital bill, and built a small emergency cushion, just enough to breathe. That fall, I walked a full quarter-mile on the lake path without a break. No cane, no brace, just me and the crunch of leaves underfoot. I sat on a bench afterward and let myself smile. Big, wide, real. I didn't post it, didn't text anyone, I just knew. 2 years out, I could walk, not far, not fast, but it was me doing it. Heel to toe, no rails, no spotter. I still had days where the pain flared up like fire behind my ribs, but I managed it. It didn't manage me. I was back part-time at the same supply company. Office hours, dispatching routes, reviewing manifests. Simple stuff, but steady. Twice a month, I volunteered at the rehab floor where I used to train. Mostly I talked. Sometimes I spotted someone new on the parallel bars and told them the truth without the pep talk. Brent still worked there, still ran his sessions like boot camp with a pulse. He called me mayor of the bars and made the new guys ask me how long it took to stand for a full minute. I always said, way too long, but worth every second. Maurice came back once and dropped off donuts, said he was done with rehab and working part-time security again. He bumped my shoulder and said, "Still got your spine, huh?" I said, one bolt at a time. When someone at rehab says their pain is real, I believe them first. That's my rule now. Believe first, ask questions second. If someone had done that for me earlier, a lot might have gone differently. I kept a copy of the MRI in a manila folder in my file drawer. I didn't stare at it, didn't need to. Just knowing it was there reminded me I wasn't crazy, that what happened, happened. Sometimes people asked if I forgave Riley's family. I told them it wasn't my job to fix people who couldn't be honest with themselves. Logan had a release date on paper. I had a better bed, a steadier back, and a locked front door. Lorraine tried again through one of her cousins. Some soft text about wanting to clear the air and move forward. I didn't reply. I didn't even type a draft. I just said no and meant it. Taryn and I kept in touch. Sometimes we met for coffee near the hospital, her still in scrubs, me with a compression wrap under my jeans. She always asked, "How's the walk today?" I'd say, "Better than yesterday." And she'd nod like she already knew the answer. That was enough. It didn't have to be more. If I had a revenge, it wasn't the sentencing or the settlement. It was this. I didn't stay down where they put me. I didn't let their idea of strength become mine. They filmed those videos to laugh at me. I turned them into a line I won't let anyone cross again. Not for tradition, not for family. Now when I hear someone say, "Boys will be boys," I think about the sound of my back hitting stone, and I decide every single time I'd rather be a man. Before you head out, can I ask you something? When someone in your life calls harm a joke, do you set a boundary or swallow it? If you've got hype, please tap it to boost this. Hit subscribe and like. It truly helps. And drop a comment, even just good story, or your take. The benefits of history for you, the audience one. Always document injuries and interactions. Evan's untreated spinal fractures, T8, T12, L5, provided crucial evidence that this wasn't a one-time accident, but a pattern of abuse. 2. Videos filmed for laughs can become legal evidence. Logan's friends capturing the moment helped prove deliberate action in court. 3. Immediate intervention matters. Taryn's 911 call and spinal protocol stopped others from moving Evan, preserving both his physical condition and the legal case. 4. Victim blaming from family, for example, "Don't ruin Logan's birthday," is often a red flag for deeper gaslighting and systemic neglect. HR and legal should treat these patterns seriously. 5. Hospital personnel like Dr. Patel and Detective Pierce showed how coordinated documentation, MRI reports, injury timelines, witness statements, builds a strong legal and medical case.